Today, we're on the trail of the Blue Hope Mine. Well, I've not done this trail on a big bike before. Usually do this on a WR. And it's super easy on a WR. It may very well be on a big bike, but I recall it doesn't seem to be very big bike friendly in some spots. It's not a heavily trafficked trail. I don't think I've ever seen another person on it before. I have seen tracks, so I don't know if that's just ranchers and hunters, but it's definitely not a regular dirt bike racer ATV trail. Now watch out for the burrow poop. Check out those ocotillos, all leafed up like they're supposed to be. Gorgeous stand of saguaros out here. Yeah, this is the kind of trails that I wanted to get out and do more of. Why I bought this bike. And not that the Tiger couldn't do it. Ooh. Wash caution was a little tore up. Not that the Tiger couldn't do it. It was a lot more work and sustained lots more indentations, if you will. Get through this gate here. I'm really efforting to maintain weightless rider and stay on the pegs. I get lazy and sit down quite a bit. Now, I do think standing is overrated, and there's places where they tell you to stay standing. And if it works for you, that's great. But I see there are situations where standing is not the optimum position to be riding in, especially if you need rear wheel traction. And I think that, in my most humble opinion, that just hanging your butt over the back seat doesn't give enough weight to the rear wheel in some low traction situations. Maintaining momentum is key, unlike what I did right there. I stopped short of the corner and saturated my brakes with all my momentum. Had to sit down because there was a bug in my helmet. I really don't care for company in my helmet. My brain bucket is a single occupancy habitation. Trying to remain hydrated. I forgot my water pack a couple of weeks ago when riding Wagoner Road. That wasn't a whole lot of fun. I ended up having to turn around, and luckily I turned around before I got stupid. Well, I actually left the house stupid, but start making poor decisions when you get thoroughly dehydrated. But I'm trying to stop and get the helmet off and stick the water hose in my mouth so I stay cool and keep the water in my fleshy parts. It's literally so quiet out here when the wind stops blowing that I was standing around the bike earlier without it running and just the ignition on, and I was like, what's that noise? It was actually the radiator fans. It sounded like a jet plane was coming over, and you usually can barely hear them. We are in nearly off-road configuration. I wanted to try that. I've drop the air pressure in the tires, not as much as I normally do, but because this operating pressure of this is so high that I didn't want to take it down to, I usually run 20-25 pounds off-road, and I'll try lower, but this seems to feel pretty good. I also have shut off ABS and traction control completely, but I have left the map for fueling in off-road mode. That was a rather angular entrance and exit out of the wash back there. I was pretty impressed. Didn't bottom out or lose traction at all. That was pretty good. Really want to try some, and I've been pushing into low traction conditions to see how the 805 will. Where are we going here? To learn how the 805 reacts in these low traction conditions with the torque mostly and horsepower of the 1090. And so far, I've got to say, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm sure probably spoken too soon. The other thing I need to get rid of is the mental stops that I've built into myself after riding bikes like the V-Strom and the Tiger 800 is this is not a sport bike you can ride off-road. This is a 1000cc dirt bike. And I'm not big on these weird concepts that people have of putting things in your mind for success. However, the thing that I forget is the dirt orientatedness of this bike. And I was replacing the front tire the other day, and you know, I just really looked at it. Was sitting right next to the WR, and it's like, you know how much that thing looks like the WR? I've been, and I kind of looked at it, stared at it for a little bit, and got that mental image in my mind of the stance of this bike and how it really looks like, feels like, acts like, and rides like a dirt bike. And to try to erase or combat some of those mental stops that I had built out of self and motorcycle preservation. Fixing bikes is expensive, and fixing me is ridiculously expensive, so well, this is an crap. I just rode through some beautiful little 2-track trails back there and had a whole bunch to say, and my battery crapped out on me. The headaches of vlogging. But we'll give it another crack here. Anywho, what I was babbling about back there was special shout out to George from GNR Rides. Young man contacted me a couple months ago or so to go and ride Black Bear Pass And I kind of thought he was kidding, but I wasn't sure. Seemed serious enough, but I had a ride planned and work engagements, and would have meant a 4 or 5 day trip for me. Which I could not make. That's where momentum saves you. Anyway, this young man who really started adventure riding on the very bike he took merely a year and a half or 2 years ago, took his V-Strom 650 XT over Black Bear Pass, and mad props to that young man. And like I said, special shout out, I want to post his 2 terrifying videos at the end of this one. You'll see the links at the end of this video. I highly encourage you to go ahead and watch. And check out his terrifying ordeal. It would be worthy of a Halloween view with some popcorn, beer, and candy corn at your side. Because it scared the poop out of me. And God was sure with him on that day, because he came through it, as far as I know, unscathed. Although his trusty 650 XT V-Strom surely bore some terrific battle scars. And this used to be a nice, really nice little trail. Swoopy and, you know, nothing too difficult. You could get out here and kick it pretty good. But they took down and abandoned, they meaning BLM, I guess. Maybe the owner or somebody took the tower down, and they graded this road out for large trucks to navigate. So kind of messed that up. Oh well. Heading to the Blue Pearl. Blue Hope, not Blue Pearl. Get so many minds in my brain that get them all mixed up and confligated. Confligated. That's the old Purple Pansy mine. We've been there before. Maybe I'll stick a video link at the end. All this dark rock, it's almost dark purple, came out of a mine up the way. We'll visit that someday. Oh, this is our turn. This is a real pretty area to ride through. By the tracks, looks like there's more and more people coming back in this area. First time I came out here, it didn't look like anybody even been on this road in years. All the green covering these rocks here. You think the lichen is like the, tundra up in Alaska or the North Pole or whatever. And I believe it's more related to dry climates, maybe? I don't know. I'm sure someone knows better than I do. Not that I need to know more stuff like that, but that's what that is, lichen in the desert. Nice little hill climb coming up here. Oh, Shinko 805 is not doing too bad. Pushed me right through that sand, and that was some pretty deep sand too. When we dropped off the hard pack into the sand wash, it really back end sank right down, but kept on pushing and sent me right up the hill pretty good. Yeah, don't get your hopes up for this mine. I'm here for a particular purpose. There's no real buildings, but there's some stuff I'd like to pick up. I do believe that this little area might be camping trip worthy. Well, this is the Purple Pansy. When I get off, we'll show you. Just a little concerned. A couple of folks over there shooting. And I never assume that people shooting are even reasonably intelligent, even though I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment. I also like being on this side of the grass, and not all people, especially out here, really are thinking very clearly. So my desert friends have moved on. At least they walked away and stopped shooting. I beep 3 times, usually that'll let them know that you're out there. So kindly enough, they have stopped shooting. I know I rode into their little target practice, but they weren't. I was watching them on the hill across the way, and they were just not really shooting at anything. They were just firing off into the distance, which is truly scary. But they have wandered down from the hill over there. I've not heard a motor vehicle start up and drive away or drive back past me. So I'm still a little concerned, but keep an eye out for them. Anyway, to the task at hand. Let me go find some shining examples of what I'm looking for. So what's in the Blue Hope pit is nickel and copper and turquoise and blue rocks like this. I'm looking for something a little bit larger, but they're kind of neat. Put in your outdoor plants for a little bit of interest. All of these mounds around me are not natural, they're tailings piles. Not a whole lot of information on this mine, and there's not any head frame or anything like that kicking around. So I come up here once in a while just to pick up some rocks and have a really nice ride of it. So there's not really a whole lot of history or anything like that that I can share about this mine. I think there's probably is stuff out there, but there's no head frame or anything like that. It's super interesting. I like to just come out here and get my bag of rocks and enjoy the ride. And the scenery. Like I said, this may make it a real nice camp spot out here, one of those hills over there. There's a nice one. If I had some water with me, that's blue all the way around. Before someone starts banging away on their keyboard, this is not an active mining claim. I'm very aware and respectful of mining claims and no trespassing. Stuff like that can get you shot. Well, I got my little stash of rocks and gonna get my stuff back on and head on out of here. Hey, back on the road again. Well, it's nice to have a breeze again. Keep you nice and cool. Yeah, just one little note there. People shooting don't bother me at all. In fact, I do that quite a bit myself. As long as I can figure out what direction they're shooting in, if they can see me, and what they're shooting. That person was just walking around shooting randomly. Now, I've run into people like that before, and I'm not really sure what the mindset is there, but there's no real use for it other than kind of like a kid with a cap gun. And that tells me they're as dangerous as a kid with a real gun. So I keep an eye on them. Well, thanks for coming with me to the Blue Hope Mine. Sure do appreciate you watching. Please comment, subscribe, like and share. Adios.